So what we've done here is I've been talking on the Hangouts and spoken to a couple of people in regards to colloidal silver, and I'm pretty sure it was either Phoenix or Mothers that has just told me about getting or sorting out a magnetic stirrer. You can buy them online and shit, apparently X-Lab equipment and stuff, and it's just a little thing that stirs it up so that when the colloidal silver is being made, that the as soon as the particles broken off of the silver, it mixes with the water. It doesn't have a chance to settle and join up with another bit. It's changed the colloidal silver water from being a almost urine-y piss yellow into still being clear at 15 parts per million. Without the magnetic stirrer, it came out as a yellow. Didn't keep well in a clear bottle, turned the clear bottle into actually silver. The glass actually seemed to have absorbed the silver out of the colloidal silver water, and what was 15 parts per million turned out to be 5 parts per million because the glass had soaked up the other 10 parts per million and absorbed it. And it was really weird. It was a perfectly clear glass bottle which is now turned into almost mirrorish. So trippy shit. Anyway, so instead of going online to find a magnetic stirrer, I do what I always do. Jumped online to YouTube and looked up how to make a magnetic stirrer. Turns out it's not too difficult. Bear with me. Okay, so what I ended up doing was I found a couple of clips on how simple it was to make. I looked out in the shed because I collect everything, and I found myself an old AWA NSX 950 or 910 stereo systems Traverse deck, which for most people don't understand, it's one of those old 5 carousel CD player things that had the big lights and flash dingies. The Traverse deck is the thing that lifts up and down and reads the discs. So basically the spindle motor out of the CD part of it is what I took out, and what it does, I'll shine the torch in there so you can see it because I've actually stuck it in there now. Okay, so what I've actually done is you've got this piece of wood here, or 3 or 4 pieces of plywood, because I wanted to get the height right away from the top of this. This thing here, this black thing, it's just an old Perspex, I think it's like a book tray or a book holder or something that you sit underneath a monitor. Don't know what it is. My wife found it at an op shop, knew it was made of Perspex, and I was fucking around with making HO generators at the time, or hydrogen generators at the time, so she knew I was wanting Perspex, so she brought it home. Anyway, so what I've done is I've put this little spindle motor here out of the AWA stereo in. I've taken apart an old hard drive, and just here you'll see a magnet just on top there. Don't know if you can see them, but just on top of this, just this thing here. Oh, actually, I'll turn the light on if I can. No, bear with me. Right, there we go. So I'll turn the light on, and as you can see here, we've got this little neodymium magnet that's out of a hard drive, and I've just used super glue and super glued that onto the top there, and that's attached to this little spindle motor. Okay. Now I don't have a potentiometer or a volume adjuster or any sort of pot on it to adjust the speed of that. I have tried 5 volts, 6 volts and 12 volts. 12 volts it's just far too fast, but 5 and 6 volts seems to work just fine. So yeah, I've just soldered these wires on. It's just a bit of speaker cable to the bottom of the hard drive. Drilled myself like a 1-inch hole that the little spindle motor's sunken into, and I've super glued that all in there and used insulation tape to get the thickness right around the motor so it all just sits in there really snug, and then I've super glued the crap out of it so it's not going anywhere, and then I've just taped all of these pieces of wood together to get the right height that I want, and then I've super glued the bits of wood there to the underneath. Okay, so it's not going to go anywhere in a hurry. The face cloth is just to stop the vibration and stop the movement of the Pyrex jug that I've got here. Now this is a 20 volt DC output supply. It can power up to 20 amps if it needs be, but it doesn't even use a fly shed of 1 amp to do the silver colloidal or the silver generation. This is just a switch to turn on the and it's just powered. Excuse the fucked up writing, but this is just something I put together yesterday after smacking myself in the head with a trapdoor. And that's just powered into a little, power adapter. That's, I think, a 6 volt 200 milliamp power adapter. Right, just something to run the little motor. So when I flick the switch on, away we go. Okay, I've got this here sitting on top of another towel again, just to stop the vibration on the table. Alright, now what they will show you in regards to the magnetic stirrers is that you need a they call a little stirring stick, which is usually a Teflon covered magnetic or an iron bar that has north on one side and south on the other. What I did is I have quite a few of these little neodymium ball magnets. Okay, I just stuck 3 in a row. Obviously the middle one's going to stick in the centre and the other 2 are going to spin. Alright, so just to show you what I mean by that. Alright, yeah, see, they're just sitting there, but when I stick it on top, bingo. Okay. So if I want to know where it's squared, smack dang's about centre, it's about there. Okay, right, so, and to show you what happens when that spins, let me just turn them on.
I would like to do deals with people I never have to see, that's for sure. And I know that I don't have to trust them, but I just want to
It just spins in the centre. Neat, eh? Okay, and that's just going to spin around like crazy there. So, next step is, let's put some water in. What I have in here is some perfectly neutral 0 parts per million distilled water that I used through a water distiller. It takes about 9 hours to do 4 litres of the stuff, and I just pour in 2 cups at a time or 500 mils at a time into the Pyrex jug and make some to suit. Doesn't really take that much to do. Anyway, I'll just fill up the jug and be back with you. In fact, just for the continuity's sake, I'll leave you plugged in so you can see what's going on. Alright, you guys might as well watch what's going on here as well. I'll just turn that light off so I'm not blinding myself. Alright, so it's almost Happy New Year's, people.
Whether they hold the keys on your behalf, analogous to a book entry system, right? Where you own the stock, but actually your broker is, you hold the stock in so-called street name. Your broker is actually the title holder to that stock. It's the same case with a wallet. If you're a consumer using a Coinbase, they hold your Bitcoin. You have an account, you have the credit of a certain amount of Bitcoin that appears in your account. But you don't control your private keys. That's a security feature, that's a security enhancement that a lot of consumers appreciate. Other wallets have different approaches. Zapdos stores most of their wallets, most of their Bitcoin in so-called cold storage, which is disconnected from the...
So that's 2 cups. 500 mils of absolutely neutral water, and just to show you that it is absolutely neutral water, and for the sake of continuity, it's all done on the same recording. We will now zero that out, as you can see, 0 parts per million, and we're going to dump this straight into this water here. Okay, as you can see, still 0 parts per million, and it's definitely submerged. Okay, 0 parts per million. Alright, I'm just going to turn that off, so over there. So, we've got our 3 magnets in pretty much dead centre of that bowl. We're going to turn this on just to see how it goes, eh? What do you reckon? Am I going to get a cyclone effect here? Look at that. There goes my magnetic stirrer. What do you reckon, guys? That's the one neodymium magnet stuck in there. Took me a couple of hours buggering around. And that's basically it. And that's what stirs it up. So, next. How wicked's that, eh? So, next I am going to get my 2 silver rods here. Now I've made this little lead because I like to make things that look flash. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to curve these bars. So I'm just going to put the camera back up again. Hopefully you guys can see what's going on here. Okay, there's my 2 silver bars. They are 99.9999% pure silver. I've used them a bit now, so they are getting a little bit worn. But that's alright, doesn't matter. And that's just negative and positive going into negative positive. This is cranked fully up to 20 volts. So yeah, now before I start up the electrolysis, I'm just going to start up the magnetic stirrer again. Okay, he's got himself a whirlpool going, and now let's turn on this, and away she goes. Okay, so that's running at 20 volts and fuck all amps. It's not even raised, not even measurable, but granted that only measures, 0.5 of an amp, so it's not going to measure 0.01, is it? That's just whirlpooling away lovely. I've got the rods bent pretty close to each other, side by side. Like I say, it doesn't really fucking matter. And we'll just see what the water tests at while we're at it. I know it's only been a minute. And look at that. 3 parts per million already. Alright. Okay, so out. And 3 parts. Back out, none. And 3. So like I say, what this does is it keeps motion in the water, stops the water from just sitting stagnant while the 2 rods, obviously one's being an anode, one's being a cathode. One will attract the hydrogen in the water, the other will attract the oxygen in the water. One will oxidize, one will corrode. What I've found is, even though if I leave this running for hours, is that it will still take bugger all time to build up the first amount of parts per million, but the second parts per million seems to take a long time, and that's because the rods are corroded up. What I'm going to do this time round is, after it starts to corrode up and cause some sort of tarnish, is I'm actually going to pull the rods out, leave it stirring, but pull the rods out, turn off the voltage obviously, pull the rods out and just clean any tarnish that's on there, because I'm thinking that the tarnish is stopping the actual silver particles from breaking off. It's creating a barrier. So as long as you keep your rods clean, you should get a good reaction. So we'll see how we go. I'm just going to leave this recording and going. See how we go. The hangout's still running. Doesn't seem like we've got anyone here. It is now 12:04. Happy New Year's, ladies and gentlemen. It is the 1st of the 1st in 2014. Happy New Year. Actually, I'll tell you a lie. My watch, it's 5 minutes fast. 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year. There you go. You can see that ding, ding, ding on RT. It's just gone on. It's 12 o'clock over there in Berlin. It's 11 o'clock in London. That's 11 o'clock in the morning in London. London's 13 hours behind us. New York at 6 o'clock in the morning there. Hello New York. And in Beijing it's 7 o'clock at night. Okay? In Moscow it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. In Berlin it is 12 o'clock midday. And back to London, 11 o'clock AM. Alright guys.